If we talk about China and Taiwan, some people might think they are the same country. It's just China is an antique history of itself, and Taiwan is modern China. As far as we know, the relationship between them is getting tense. Have you ever wondered why China and Taiwan are not the same countries and what conflict they have with each other? If you are curious, we will dig into the root cause together. Throw back to the beginning of this conflict, which started from the Qing dynasty in 1911. Back then, China was still ruled by a monarchy system. At that time, a lot of craze from foreign countries influenced China. One of them is to have a democracy and overthrow the dynasty. During that time, the most important political figure was Dr. Sun Yat-sen, who wanted China to have a Republic of China rule and wanted to overthrow the dynastic system. Dr. Sun Yat-sen has made political movements in various ways and methods to demand democracy for China. On the other hand, the emperor is also trying to countermeasure against Sun Yat-sen's action by appointing a military officer named Yuan Shikai as a royal envoy to disband the protesters. Though Yuan Shikai was not a royalty person, as he had secretly offered the revolutionaries an agreement that would help overthrow the Qing dynasty and ask him to become China's first president. However, the deal was rejected because the revolutionaries intended to overthrow the old monarchy and restore power to the people of the republic. The army and revolutionaries were in power at the time and were fighting against each other. Dr. Sun Yat-sen's supporters are growing rapidly in China. But at the same time, Yuan Shikai controlled the central power, while most of the powerful countries supported Yuan Shikai because they thought he had the right to rule China. Unlike Sun Yat-sen, which was just a civilian army. Eventually, the Qing dynasty abdicated, leading China into a democratic era, and Yuan Shikai was made the first president of China. Dr. Sun Yat-sen, already very powerful in Nanking County, had agreed to reduce his own power to give Yuan Shikai all the power. Not too long after, Yuan Shikai started suppressing the political dissenters who disagreed with him, causing Dr. Sun Yat-sen to flee to Japan. Because of the suppression afterward, Yuan Shikai took his own liberty and appointed himself as an emperor. He intended to create his own dynasty, which the people refused. There were many protests until finally, Yuan Shikai died, and no one held power in China. This led China to the warlords era, when the country was divided and ruled by different groups. Dr. Sun Yat-sen, who fled to Japan, returned to China to form a minor political party called the Kuomintang Party. Sun Yat-sen is a progressive thinking leader. He asked for help from the United Nations. However, he was not helped, as it was seen as a domestic problem, until he sought help from the Soviets, which agreed with the condition of supporting the Communist Party in China. Thanks to this agreement, the Communist Party was formed in China. Around 1919, after World War I ended, the Treaty of Versailles intended to outline the condition of peace after the war. One of the terms in the Treaty of Versailles was the need for China to cede Shandong Province to Japan. Germany invaded Shandong Province before World War I. China back then didn't have one central government, but mainly split into two main parts, which government of Sun Yat-sen and the warlord government from the north, Beijing. On the day of the treaty signing, the bylaws of both sides had joined with the northern government agreeing to sign the contract, but Sun Yat-sen was dissatisfied and did not agree to sign the contract, so it did not happen on behalf of China, unsigned. Afterward, China has become chaotic again. Sun Yat-sen tried to use his diplomatic ability to negotiate and persuade reconciliation with the government from Beijing to make China become united again. While their relationship was going well, and just a few years after that, Sun Yat-sen or the Kuomintang was split into two groups. The first group moved to Wuhan, the other moved to Nanjing, and was led by Chiang Kai-shek. Chiang Kai-shek embarked on a diplomatic plan by campaigning and lobbying other powerful and responsible leaders in some areas. He promised to divide the power to the warlords who at the time ruled different areas to continue leading their territory without him interfering, with enough central control, and everyone agreed. His deal included some communist parties at the time that lent to Chiang Kai-shek's offer. Most leaders agreed with his offer, including some of the Communist Party. This agreement also upset the rest of the communists and appointed their leader Mao Zedong, where Mao Zedong formed the Red Army. Communist Army. When Chiang Kai-shek learned about this, he felt threatened and caused the suppression of communism, where both sides later started to fight. In addition, it was a period before the beginning of World War II when Japan had a lot of power and military force. Japan, seeing that internal conflicts weakened China, decided to attack China immediately. The Chinese then tried to persuade Chiang Kai-shek to cooperate with Mao Zedong to join forces to fight the Japanese first and settle the conflict later. Still, Chiang Kai-shek disagreed because the communists would grow and become more powerful. Consequently, Both Chiang Kai-shek's Kuomintang Party and Mao Zedong's Communist Party had to fight Japan and have to fight each other for 3 to 4 years. Until Chiang Kai-shek was kidnapped and forced to cooperate, Mao Zedong's Communist Party defended China. After World War II ended, when Japan lost the war, Japan had to agree to many concessions, and one of them was to return all the land they invaded from China. Taiwan was also one of them. Afterward, when there were no threats of outside invaders, the Kuomintang and the Communist Party fought again. With the Communist Party backed by the Soviets and the Kuomintang Party supported by the United Nations, which can be called a full-fledged Cold War until 1949. In 1949, the Kuomintang Party led by Chiang Kai-shek, the formal government at the time, could not suppress Mao Zedong's power and his Communist Party. He surrendered and fled to Taiwan by boat. He also created a government while in exile in Taiwan. This formally marked the end of the Chinese Civil War between the Kuomintang and the Communist Party. However, neither officially has any contract or agreement to end their political conflict formally. Both of them believe that they both are the rightful government of China. Kuomintang thought they were the government of the Republic of China. At the same time, Communist Party Mao Zedong disagreed and claimed that he was also the government of China, or the People's Republic of China. But then, Taiwan was recognized as the formal government of China because Mao Zedong and his party was the one who sparked the revolution and took over the power of ruling China. Time passed, and the global view towards the Chinese government changed, from believing that Taiwan was the rightful Chinese government to recognizing Mao's government in Beijing as the rightful Chinese government. The change gradually occurred throughout history. Until 1971, there was a document certifying the United Nations stating that the People's Republic of China was the formal government of China. This reduced the importance of Taiwan in terms of who is the government of China. In 1992, there was a severe event. The airplane was hijacked, forcing the two governments to work together to solve the problem and come to an agreement and create a One China policy. The One China policy is a policy that indicates that there is only one country under the name China despite the presence of the two diverse governments. However, the One China policy was unsuccessful, as Taiwan had several elections. Other parties won the election and became the president of the country, not the Kuomintang Party anymore, and other parties did not agree with the One China policy. Because in their view, Taiwan has been separated from China for a long time, and the similarity of their culture and customs was also erased from the communist system. From all of the reasons Taiwan did not value this policy afterward. Nowadays, the topic of who is the real China still controversial is the Communist China People's Republic of China or Taiwan, whose full name is still the Republic of China. Thank you for watching. Hope enjoy the video and please subscribe and hit the like button.